And hi everyone, welcome to Ujima Wednesday. Um, uh, Boston has been reshaped by the power of young people. Come learn how, led by I Have a Future, youth power movement for jobs, justice, and policy changed Massachusetts. This hands-on workshop uncovers the often hidden victories of youth organizing. Our facilitator today and speaker is Keturah Brewster. Having played various roles at I Have a Future over the last 12 years and now serves as the executive director, through her leadership, she supports young people and organizes around the state to increase youth opportunities by nurturing their leadership, challenging political leaders, and engaging with members of our communities in dialogue that shift narrative, build youth build youth-led movements. Keturah is a certified youth worker and 2017 Advocate Champion Award winner, receiving the Boston's Women's Fund Liberation Award in 2024. Her expertise in community organizing and leadership development has led her to teach at UMass Boston, Boston University, and Harvard's Graduate School of Education. Couture's passion is centered on liberating marginalized communities, specifically in healing spirituality work. Couture is a Boston native pursuing her bachelor's in communications at UMass Boston. Welcome, Couture, to Ujima Wednesday. I'll pass it to you.
Give it up for yourselves. I know it's great. Hey, we're being edified, sustained. So yeah, thank you all for being here. My name is Keturah Brewster. I'm here with I Have a Future, and today's workshop is about just uncovering the things that we often don't see, what I like to call the hidden wins in youth organizing. We're going to be talking about a bunch of different, or not a bunch of different things. We're going to be talking about something really important. But before I kind of go into the nitty gritty, I want to just take a step back and share a little bit more about Our Future since there's a lot of new faces. Um, so
And then
yeah,
we're pulling up a presentation in person.
sorry y'all. So yeah, just to jump right in, our purpose is really simple but urgent. We are on a power building mission with BIPOC youth in Massachusetts to make sure that young people get the futures they deserve. It's that simple. Our mission is to train and support youth leaders from across the state to challenge systems that deny them opportunity. And so that looks like a breadth of things from underfunded schools to looking at the ways that policing and incarceration literally strip resources from our communities and so on and so forth. Does that make sense? Yeah, y'all with me? So our analysis is rooted in this narrative that Massachusetts is one of the wealthiest states in our country, yet inequality runs the deepest here, right? So, to give you an example, lots of students who travel out of state leave this state with a college degree and opportunities in booming industries, whereas young black and brown low income youth and their families born and raised here are literally stifled from those same opportunities. Okay, so that's not an accident. I've been doing this for 15 years. That is by choice, y'all. That's a literal choice around what our state is choosing to invest in and who they see as valuable. So yeah, that's literally what's the next slide? That's literally the why behind why we do what we do. And our vision is for full youth employment and an end to youth criminalization. So we're really going to be talking about power today. And hopefully just kind of sharing some of the legacy that Iowa Future has kind of started that you are literally steering forward will help us kind of build the vision that we want for the future together. And the last thing I'll say is I have a future is a declaration, but it's also a question. We have a future. We have a future. Will institutions recognize that? Institutions in power, I should say, recognize that. So let's move on. So if you're joining us virtually, you're here in person, I have some couple moving parts to this workshop, trying to make it interactive, you know what I'm saying? So if you can, I'm gonna be passing around these stickies, but you could also just like write it in your phone if you want. Yeah, you're more of a visual person. But essentially, actually, before I explain the instructions, let me say what we're doing. So power is a term we hear all the time, especially in organizing. Fair to say? And so it can be a little bit of a red flag, it could be a little charged, depending on the context, right? So throughout this workshop, I just want y'all to like wrestle with your own experiences with power and treat this as an open conversation as we grapple with this concept together. Is that all right?
Yes.
I
Is it
need to
right?
see thumbs. All right, cool. Thank you. You know, all right, so back to the stickies. So let's think together, right? I want y'all to write down again, either on the sticky that's being passed around or in your notes, whichever feels comfortable, or in the chat, a hidden win from your life. And so to kind of give you some more, like what does that mean? It could literally be something that you've done or were a part of that you feel like made a difference, but it wasn't exactly visible. Does that make sense? Yeah. Let's take a couple minutes to think about it.
Mhm. And just to reiterate, for those online, you may put your answer, what is your hidden win in life, in the Zoom chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Scribe it up. If your pen works. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Does anybody need me to explain in a different way or?
Also, does that, you mean like it wasn't essentially celebrating as well?
Mhm. Like loudly, you know? So we'll do this until like 6:39.
6:30 now.
So like 2 minutes.
Go for it.
Technically, y'all, we would have, posted these up. Could I just hear a couple and shout them out? Go ahead. Waking period. Can we snap? Let's celebrate these wins. Hold on.
They said waking up. Shout them out. Oh,
Yeah. Anybody else? Hidden win?
I'm a published author.
Pocket?
I've been in a book before.
nice.
Written in history. Go ahead, love.
I
said my work achievements and growth are within my job. I wouldn't say I'm not, I don't say I'm not appreciated for it within work, but outside of work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It makes
I
you
said,
more.
I said I changed the uniform policy in my last school.
Okay. What was the school?
Great Boston Trust.
What he was OG.
We all did just look. You don't have to share.
I went to finals in my basketball camp.
Okay.
Finals in the basketball camp.
Last one.
I finished my goal in track.
Accomplished a goal in track.
Yes. So not only did I want us to just like be in the fields and actually acknowledge the things that we accomplished together, but if you go back to the preview slide, room, why do y'all think that these matter, even if it's not on the front page of the news? 1, 2, 3.
I was gonna say, like, to me, how I think about it is like, even though it's like a small step, the step is still a step. The step is still a step going towards like the big overarching goal that you're trying to achieve for yourself. So like those small victories, like it may seem like small in the grand scheme of things, but at the same time, it's like a big, like what you're trying to achieve for yourself.
Yes. I want y'all to hold on to that steps. I love that. Go ahead. Said I wanted a 2 and a 3.
I think like it's because it matters to yourself. Um, you find it important and you're identifying as so you your life for your
Mm-hmm. It gives you a sense of self-awareness.
Yeah.
And then I had a third already. Yeah.
Yeah, similar to what Hassan and Mert were saying. I was gonna say that like it's important to bring awareness to like these achievements and like I think that way can like raise more like opportunities in these things so that they don't become as hidden and like these things can become more recognized for people who want to like pursue these types of like resources and opportunities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we have these steps, this self-agency, this ability to inspire others, right? We're like engaging with power on a number of levels, right? And that's extremely crucial in this work, right? When we're in a society that continuously tells us as young people, Black and brown folks, that we don't matter, right? That our voices have no agency, that we do little inspiration, right? These little wins, these hidden wins, right? And they're not even little at all. These quote unquote hidden wins mean so much more than what society actually allows us to like take in and like sit with. Um, so share I have a future hidden win. That's all right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little something. As we kind of talk about power and our like engagement with power. So a few years ago, how many of y'all have heard about the bill Raise the Age? Yeah, got my people in the room, y'all making this easy. So, a few years ago, when Massachusetts was debating whether or not to include 17-year-olds or to exclude 17-year-olds in the adult system, I have a future youth, y'all, right? Your peers, folks from across the state, we were right there in that conversation. And so we didn't have the biggest budgets, right? We didn't have a bunch of lobbyists flooding the state house, on them like, make sure you pay attention, make sure you make sure, make sure. But what we did have was our stories, right? So at the time, many of the young people there were sharing how their friends, their classmates, their family members were literally being pushed into the adult system, the adult criminal justice system, and how that was extremely unfair, not only to their development, but also it's like, what kind of ripple effects are you creating in these people's lives? That was important. It was bold for the time. I'm not here to say some like fancy wrap this story up in a bow and say we won, because we actually didn't, at least not right away. But what the legislature did recognize was that they were inspired to help shape how our state was looking at criminal justice through the stories that they heard from young people. And that was huge. Prior to that moment, as Massachusetts was drafting the largest criminal justice bill in our state's history, they had completely forgot to include young people, young youth issues. Completely forgot, right? So us literally being there, it was a hit and win, right? But over time, we planted those seeds that literally transformed how our state is currently grappling with our juvenile and criminal justice system. I believe not only was it passed to that 17-year-olds were included in the juvenile jurisdiction, but 18 and 19-year-olds are currently also included in the juvenile jurisdiction. So there are ways to go, right? But it matters. Put up yourselves.
Mhm.
So I guess the real question that I'm really having y'all kind of sit with is, how does that shift actually happen? Right? How do you inspire someone? How do you create this agency? How do you build these steps, right, that really have you right in front of power, confronting it, right? So I want to talk a little bit about the basis of power, a little bit about what we've done over the years.
Go forward.
Oh, you can move forward, yeah. So there are 5 bases of power, actually, y'all. And I'm sure if we had the time, we could literally kind of put a magnifying glass on your hidden wins and be able to identify where it lies in this format. So the first one is organized people, right? Second one's organized money, so that's resources, like literally money, assets. We got institutional authority, the ability to move laws, shape rules, right? We have cohesive force. I'm gonna make you do it because I have the power to, right? And then we have this thing called organized ideas, the ability to shape narrative, right? So there are different points of time where you're not, lots of times these, to move the basis of power, it's not a siloed act. Like you could be touching upon several of these buckets. Does that make sense? It's not something that lives in isolation of each other. Are there any questions so far? So I want y'all to kind of turn to a partner for 5 minutes. And I want y'all to think about a time where you felt powerful or powerless, right? Now that you have this framework, I want you to think about your own experiences with power. So yeah, just turn to a neighbor, either left or right of you, and then just take 5 minutes to identify a specific time you felt powerful or powerless. And see if you could identify the basis of power within your story as well.
Time started.
Okay, folks hear me online? I'm so sorry. Okay.
And just because it's just staff and one Ujima member online, perhaps you can talk amongst yourselves with the prompt on the screen. Thank you, Keturah. One more time.
About 30 seconds. I would. Courtney literally saved my life. Like, actually. Love that man. Clap once. If you hear my if you hear my voice, please stop tapping. All right. So, how was that? Were you able to kind of map yourselves or the layers of your store potentially to this chart? Yeah. Any questions that came up?
Oh, sorry. Pass this to him so they can hear it online.
I think a question I had was more so like a quick. I personally don't know is like organized people and then organized money, because like I'm thinking about that like organized people, organized money is like those people that probably like say own a business, like they own, or like folks that's like in our state house, like organized people, organized money. To me, that goes in like different ways. Like, is that money that's in the streets? You feel me? Those that are like pushing drugs, selling money like that, or is it like organized money, but those that control like the money that's flowing through like the city and stuff? So it's like more so like the question of that, because I know what institutional authority is, the coercive, and then like the organized is having a sense, but it's like for me personally need more understanding of like what those two are also were, because like
All of the above, like it's very contextual.
yeah.
I think of the examples that you brought up. And we're talking about moving structures, right? Moving institutions. And so when I think about organized money, I think of fundraisers, right? It could be something as small as a fundraiser or something as big as a state budget, right? When I think about organized people, I think about the folks in this room, right? Or you could think about thousands of young people flooding the governor's office, right? So it can be circumstantial, which is what I was hoping your stories would allow you to kind of see the alignment, right? Like we know power really well, right? And I think the key, the push is being able to call it out, right? When you're really clear about the thing that you're being challenged with, it becomes very clear how to approach it. Does that make sense? So we're just building our toolbox. So again, if we had more time together, we'll go to the next slide. Your map might look a little bit like this. Well, so we'll go to the next one. Your map might look a little bit like this. If we had more time, right? So, I had folks think about their stories, and then I would have had you kind of create a visual for yourself using that story, right? Putting yourself in the center and really thinking about who had power in that story or in that dynamic that you're talking about. Or even in the case of powerfulness, right? Where would you map the folks in your story? So that's what we would have done. But I think the thing that I want to highlight the most is the fact that when you're really thinking about power in a given situation, I want you to also wrestle with like who's making the rules in that scenario, right? So I remember I was doing this workshop with a couple of youth that we worked with in our Frontlines program. And somebody had brought up a situation where they were working at a job and they really wanted to leave early. And they were upset that their boss at the time wasn't allowing them to leave early because they had like a personal matter, right? And so they were having a hard time kind of using that scenario to place themselves to do this activity. And so we walked through it together, right? Placing themselves in the middle, who had the decision to either allow you to go where you needed to go or not. In that case, it was their boss, right? And then who it tells the boss what to enforce or not enforce, right? It was the organization at the time, right? So just trying to walk y'all through how this could be super supportive in different ways. But I also want to introduce a different kind of power mapping. Yep. So, yep. So I kind of want to introduce this kind of power mapping, which is a little bit more nitty and gritty. So here's another way to look at our communities. The first ring we have here is our personal relationships. Those are like the spaces and places we choose to be in, right? The people we love, we call our people. I like to, Timo, we used to have your favorite five.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever you pin in the iChat message, yeah, that's who your personal relationships are. Go on to your voluntary relationships, right? That could be clubs that you're in, organizations potentially, the folks in the organizations you work with. It could be your church, it could be your school, right? These are places that you know we spend some time in lots of times, and there is a connection. We have a connection here, but it may not necessarily be the folks you can call up right away. And then you have your third circle, which is our necessity relationships. And those are relationships that you need. So, for example, it's like these are the players that make decisions that affect our lives. So, kind of going back to that first visual. Sorry. So you have this one, right? Where you're able to do some mapping, right? Figuring out the different degrees of who's influencing what for a particular situation. And then you have, what's the next one? This one. Yeah. So thinking about your own situations, I'm just wondering if anybody, wants to share, where could solidarity have shifted the outcome in your stories? So thinking back to your powerful or powerlessness moment, right? You thought about the different degrees of influence in that given situation, but I'm kind of pushing you to think about it in this way, kind of emphasizing relationship. Yeah.
One example that I have,
Oh, one more time.
sorry. One example, or my name is Devel, and I'm a youth organizer at Teen Empowerment. I use he, him pronouns. And one example that I had of a time that I felt powerless was when me and all the students in my chemistry class failed our first quiz, and the teacher wouldn't allow scales, but all the other teachers in chem did allow scales. So I think solidarity, or I was the only student that spoke up, but when I had brought like it to the attention of like the department head of science, they didn't really care. So I feel like solidarity would have been useful in that context because if there was more people that may have spoke up about like failing that quiz, um, maybe a different outcome would have resulted.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you. Anybody else? Maybe one more?
You can pass it down to Maya.
Hey, I'm Maya. For my example of like, I think I was just going back to the first one we wrote on the notes, I guess. And when I was in high school, we moved to a 4-day school week when I was starting high school a long time ago. But and I remember that had a big impact because my community we were very poor, like and very under-resourced, and they did it for money reasons. The board decided to do that, and they didn't factor in a lot of things like another day less of education, of child care, of food, free food for people. And so I got to help start like a free pre-K and a Friday club in my little community I grew up in. And we could have really used the necessity relationships. I think the school board could have really stepped up, and I think the state could have stepped up in maybe local businesses or grant supporters in bigger places could have stepped up to help smaller communities in that way, yeah, with money specifically.
Um, Oh, there's more. Sorry. Can you read the, or I can't see.
Oh yeah, there was an example from Susan online. Let me make clear. And I'll just read it real quick. So Susan, a member of Ujima, said, recently I was with a large group of people at the ICE facility in Burlington to support a woman who was facing the possibility of deportation. Because ICE extended her stay for a year, I felt the power of the group. So emphasizing some people pressure power there. Thank you,
Thank you,
Susan.
Susan. Yeah. So I think the if you take away anything, y'all, is that power respects power, power negotiates with power, right? So we are, if you think about the basis of power, we know at least 3 or 4 of them really well. But when we think about places where we could really grow stronger in our youth organizing ecology, is how we rely and leverage our relationships. It's extremely imperative. So just to kind of close this up, I want you all to kind of go back to your initial maps and reimagine them. Even think about a current challenge or issue that you're grappling with in this moment. How can relationships really kind of flip the narrative on its head and give you the information that you need to move forward? So the last question, and then I have a little activity. But the last question that I wanted to just ask the group for us to reflect on is, what about these maps that show us the need for relationships and solidarity? And how can collective action transform isolation into power? 9 times out of 10, what you're going through is not unique. We just have to figure out where to have those conversations and what we're going to do about it. Yeah. All right, so thank you so much. I do have an activity, but that's kind of the end of my workshop. So yeah, thank you all for sticking around. And if we have like a couple
Did
minutes left,
wanna,
yeah.
yeah, well, just wanted to open it up before we like formally close this session to just any questions from the group,
Well,
just general.
um,
Oh, sorry, do you hear me? Go ahead,
mhm.
Keturah.
No, thank you, James. I just have like 2 more, just an activity, a little fun thing,
Okay,
and then
before the
give it
Q&A.
back to
Okay,
you.
cool.
Mhm. So this is a quick little activity just to kind of show y'all, the power that lives in the work that we do, the legacy that continues. And this is called Guess Their Age. Yes. So look, don't look.
Boom.
Okay.
That's okay.
Guess their age.
Yes.
So, first one.
Ooh.
Fred Hampton. Who knows who this is? Somebody want to share? This is our collective knowledge. Go ahead.
Pass it down. Pass it down. And your name.
Some brief.
My name is Germani. I'm a youth organizer with Teen Empowerment. I use the he, him pronouns. And I'm pretty sure Fred Hampton was the leader of the Black Panthers who helped provide breakfast for the less fortunate. And he also led he led the Black Panthers, which was became a very strong group that the government had a dislike for. And they ended up planning out an attack on Fred Hampton and he was dead.
Do you want to guess their age, or does somebody want to guess?
Oh, 21.
You saw it.
Well, I already know.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. You got the next one, Jennifer. I promise. All right.
You
Well,
said 20.
yes. You could go to the next slide. He was 21 years old at the age of assassination. And thank you so much, Germani. That was an excellent bio. All right, next one. I think I have one more after this.
Ooh.
John Lewis. We're going back to the civil rights.
Put your hand up
Kind of
high.
give y'all the tea.
Wait, do we know him? I don't know him.
Or just guess their age.
32
In that book.
32.
in that photo.
All right, let's see.
Drum roll.
32, 23. Why is everyone old?
It's reversed.
So yeah, John Lewis was literally right hand to Martin Luther King Jr. And a lot of folks don't really recognize that, but upon Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination, he was also quite young. So yeah, definitely look more into them. Also started SNCC, which was the Student Nonviolent Committee that supported a lot of civil rights uh, uh, disruptive actions. Mhm. All right, last one, Ruby Ridges. I'm bringing the stack back. Good.
In the picture.
She's 5 years old.
That's a fair guess.
Or 6.
Oh, good one.
Zaya, you want to
What are you
guess?
juggling?
Oh, 6. I think she's 6.
All right, bet. Let's see.
Yeah, get that. Hey.
So yeah, was one of the first African American folks to attend an all-white public school. I believe here, no, not here. But however, there was a lot of lawsuits that were happening to integrate schools here in Massachusetts at the same time. But yes, Ruby Ridges was a huge part of that movement at 6 years old, y'all. So yeah, I just want to close out with this and I'll pass it to you, James. If not now, when? If not me, who? If I am only for myself, then who am I? If I am not for myself, then who will be for me?
Shut it up. No, all that.
That sounds cool. Nice. Well,
Got it.
yeah, if you were really feeling it, clap it up online, people, as well.
And I'll pass it to you, James. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much, Keturah. I really, really appreciate that. Especially the last two activities.
Nice.
Um, just want to give everyone, we have only 5 more minutes before our workshop is over, but we just want to open it up for questions. If anyone had any general questions about the presentation that Keturah just led us through, the activity, youth organizing, building power, we'd love to hear from you. You can put your question in the chat. You can say it out loud.
Yeah, sorry. Are there any questions, y'all? What are y'all grappling with? I would love to hear.
Bring up the board and review.
There you are.
So, so right now at Teen Empowerment, my name is Devel, and I'm a youth organizer at Teen Empowerment. We're a youth and adult organization. Um, and recently we've been working on forming a community assessment and demand for more funding for youth jobs in the Boston area. I don't know, do you guys want to add on?
Um, this survey targets local members of our community, and the whole outcome of it is supposed to get more opportunities and resources for the youth of Boston. I don't know if you want to add.
Kiana, what's that?
And to go in hand with the survey, we're also having a youth protest. To go in hand with the survey, we're also having a youth protest that goes along with getting more funding for youth jobs, but not just jobs, more community centers and more activities and more medical opportunities and like out of state opportunities for youth in Boston.
When is it?
To be determined. And for
Our assessment. So the reason why we're doing the assessment is to better hear what other young people outside of TE want to see. That's going to inform our petition, and that's going to inform our next steps for our demonstration. Yeah. Did you want to ask?
See y'all in February.
yes, please come support and show love for your community.
Yeah, were there any questions in the chat? Yeah. Did folks feel like they walked away learning something?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The question in the chat from James, is the protest in February?
Oh no, I said February because historically or traditionally, we organize a youth justice rally to advocate for increased funding for youth jobs at the state level.
It would probably be early winter or spring time frame. Yeah, for sure.
And then where can we find that? This is for notes, by the way.
On Teen Empowerment, our Instagram
Teen
is
Empowerment.
Yeah,
Teen Empowerment.org.
or you can contact me via teenempowerment.org.
Excellent. And that's my coworker. I can get him the
You should support. We'll reach out to you. Hopefully, we get like people's emails or something.
yes.
Thank you for the support.
Thank you for having
But
me.
thank y'all for sticking around.
Thank you.
If there were no other questions in the chat, we're gonna continue here in person. There's a good amount of folks here. We can continue the Q&A. James, I will leave and make you the co-host if you're not one already. But this is now the time for our non-awkward goodbyes and the end of the cloud recording.
Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate that, Gio. Feel free to transition. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a-